students, I am Puneet from Prab Kirpa classes. Our today's topic is pollution of air and water. Air and water pollution are causing a lot of harm to the plants, animals, including human beings, as well as to the environment. So it becomes necessary for us to understand what is air pollution and what is water pollution. What are the various causes that lead to such type of pollutions, and we should also understand why it is necessary to reduce air and water pollution and what are those steps which can be taken to reduce air pollution and water pollution. So let us start. Today we will try to find out the answer to these questions. Number one, what are the different ways in which water gets contaminated? Number two, at an individual level, how can you help to reduce air pollution? Third, clear, transparent water is always fit for drinking. Comment. Fourth, you are a member of the municipal body of your town. Make a list of measures that would help your town to ensure the supply of clean water to all its residents. Fifth question, explain the differences between pure air and polluted air. Sixth question, explain circumstances leading to acid rain. How does acid rain affect us? Question number 7, which of the following is not a greenhouse gas? A. Carbon dioxide, B. Sulfur dioxide, C. Methane, D. Nitrogen. Question number 8, describe the greenhouse effect in your own words. Question number 9, prepare a brief speech on global warming. Question number 10, describe the threat to the beauty of the Taj Mahal. Next question, why does the increased level of nutrients in the water affect the survival of aquatic organisms? Question number 1, what are the 3 R's of water conservation? Question number 2, the level of air pollution is higher at busy traffic intersections. Why? Question number 3, what do CFCS stand for? Name some devices where CFCS are used. Why CFCS are considered as pollutants? Question number 4, a gas X is present in the stratosphere that prevents ultraviolet radiations of the sun from reaching the earth. Name the gas. Question number 5, combustion of fossil fuels generates a lot of air pollution. Name 2 alternative sources of energy which do not cause any pollution. Next question, burning dry leaves causes air pollution. What should be done to dispose of the dry leaves? Question number 7, hot water can also be a pollutant. Explain how. Question number 8, name any 2 sources which cause air pollution due to suspended particulate matter. Question number 9, what is ozone layer? What will happen if the ozone cover of the atmosphere is removed? Question number 10, why we should plant trees and nurture the ones already present in the neighborhood? Question number 11, write short note on Ganga action plan. Also list some reasons for pollution in the river Ganga. Question number 12, what is meant by chlorination? Next question, what are the traditional ways of purifying water to make it fit for drinking? Question number 14, name the types of water pollutants. Next question, which are the various sources that pollute water? Next, is smoke an air pollutant? Question number 17, the use of excessive fertilizers and pesticides leads to the deficiency of an important substance in water. Name the substance. Question number 18, trees help in reducing pollution of our environment. A large number of trees are planted by the people in the month of July every year. This occasion is called. Next question, it is said CO2 contributes to global warming. Explain. Question number 20, air is a mixture of various gases. One of the gas is 21% part of the air and is essential for the survival of human beings. This gas is called. Question number 21. Which of the following is not a source of air pollution? Automobile exhaust, 2. Windmill, 3rd. Burning of firewood, then 4th. Power plant. Next question. Ramesh wishes to contribute in reducing air pollution. Which vehicle should he use for going to school? A. Car, B. Auto rickshaw, C. School bus, D. Scooter. Question number 23rd. We can survive for some time without air, but we cannot survive even for a few minutes without food. Comment. Question number 24th. Carbon monoxide is produced by the complete burning of fuels such as coal, petrol, diesel. Comment. Question number 25th. The type of pollution which is likely to affect Taj Mahal in Agra to a greater extent is A. Air pollution, B. Water pollution, C. Soil pollution, D. Noise pollution. Question number 26. The Kyoto Protocol is associated with. Question number 1. What are the different ways in which water gets contaminated? Answer. Water gets contaminated in the following ways. Number 1. Disposal of sewage in rivers. Number 2. Many industries discharge harmful chemical wastes into rivers or streams. Third. Washing of clothes, vehicles, animals near water bodies. Fourth. Disposal of human remains in water. Fifth. Due to rains and floods, fertilizers and weedicides are carried away from agricultural fields to the water bodies, which leads to water pollution.
Now we have question before us to discuss the ways in which water gets contaminated. There are different ways in which the water gets contaminated. First of all, the disposal sewage is disposed in rivers at many places. It is not treated before disposing the same into rivers, which is causing contamination of water. Second, many industries are discharging their harmful waste into the rivers or other water bodies. Though many governments have passed relevant legislations or made laws to prevent the same, but most of the industries do not care for the same, and their motive is only to earn profit and not to implement the various measures which may reduce the waste. At certain places, clothes, vehicles, and animals are washed near water bodies, which may be river or canal, and in this way, water also gets contaminated. At certain places, when a person dies, the remains of the human being are disposed of into the water, which is also contaminating water. Whenever there are rains and floods, then the fertilizers and weedicides which are used in the fields gets carried over by the rains and floods, and they flow to the water bodies such as rivers and canals, which is also a source of water pollution.
Next, at an individual level, how can you help to reduce air pollution? Answer. At an individual level, we can help to reduce air pollution in the following ways. Number 1, by using clean fuels such as CNG and LPG instead of diesel and petrol. Number 2, by saying no to crackers. Third, by using public transport as far as possible. Fourth, by planting trees and nurturing the ones already present. Fifth, by generating awareness about air pollution among friends and neighbors. Sixth, avoid driving during rush hours. Seventh, to walk to go to nearby market. Eighth, avoid burning leaves and other materials.
Now we have question before us. What steps can be taken by an individual to reduce air pollution? If somebody thinks that if I don't take any step to reduce air pollution, then it will not make any matter. However, if all of us start thinking in the same way, then the air pollution will rise manifold. So every one of us has to take certain steps to reduce air pollution. So in this direction, we can use CNG and LPG in our vehicles instead of diesel and petrol. Then we should say no to crackers because when the crackers burst, many harmful gases discharge into the air. If we use our own transport vehicle, then air pollution is more. But if many persons together use public transport, the number of vehicles will reduce on the roads and the chances of air pollution will also reduce. If we plant trees and nurture the ones which are already present on the earth, then it will increase oxygen in the atmosphere and it will reduce air pollution. One important factor which we can do is generating awareness about air pollution. We should discuss about the harmful effects of air pollution among our friends and with our neighbors, with our relatives, and they should be made aware that we should take steps to reduce air pollution. We also know that when there is a rush in the market or in the bazaar, we should not move out and we should drive only when when the rush hours is off. If we want to purchase anything, we should not go to the remote place by driving our car or motorcycle. Instead, if the same item is available in a nearby market, we can go to that place on foot and it will also reduce chances of air pollution as we will not be combusting any fuel, fossil fuel. Then we should not burn dry leaves or other materials. Instead of burning dry leaves, we should use these dry leaves to make compost.
Next question. Clear, transparent water is always fit for drinking. Comment. Answer. Clear, transparent water is not always fit for drinking because water may appear clean, but it may contain many diseases carrying microorganisms or harmful germs and dissolved impurities. So clear, transparent water also needs to be purified by using water purifiers or by boiling water before drinking.
Now we have question before us whether clear transparent water is fit for drinking. No, clear transparent water is not always fit for drinking because sometimes the water which is appearing as clear and transparent may contain those germs which are harmful for our body. So clear and transparent water needs to be purified using water purified or boiling water before we use them for drinking or other purpose.
Number 4. You are a member of the municipal body of your town. Make a list of measures that would help your town to ensure the supply of clean water to all its residents. Answer. To ensure the supply of clean water to all the residents, the following steps should be taken. Number 1. All leakages in the pipelines should be repaired. Water should be treated before supplying it to the residents. Third, proper cleaning of water tank from time to time. Fourth, water supply pipes should not come in contact with the sewage pipes. Fifth, main water source must be built in clean surroundings. Sixth, strict laws should be enforced on industrial units which dispose polluted water in water resources. Seventh, people should be made aware to keep the water resources clean. Next, explain the differences between pure air and polluted air. Answer. Pure air. The air which does not have any pollutant is called pure air. Pure air contains about 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and small amount of other gases, etc. It is free from germs and harmful gases. No SPMs in the air. It is fit for breathing and not harmful for living beings. Polluted air. The air which has many pollutants is called polluted air. Harmful gases are in a higher ratio. It contains harmful gases and unwanted substances. High level of SPMs in the air. It is not fit for breathing and harmful for living beings. Next question. Explain circumstances leading to acid rain. How does acid rain affect us? Answer. Burning of fossil fuels such as coal, petrol, and diesel releases many pollutants, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, etc. into the atmosphere. These pollutants mix and react with water vapors and other chemicals present in the atmosphere and form harmful acids like sulfuric acid and nitric acid, etc. These acids drop down with the rain as acid rain. Acid rain affects us in many ways. Number one, acid rain removes minerals and nutrients from the soil. Number two, it damages our crops and also makes them unfit for consumption. Third, acid rain makes water in the rivers, ponds, lakes more acidic and hence not good for the survival of aquatic animals and plants. Fourth, monuments and buildings get discolored due to acid rain. For example, acid rain has turned the white marble of Taj Mahal to yellowish. Fifth, tree leaves are damaged by the acid rain.
Now we have question before us to discuss about acid rain. All of us use fossil fuels in motor vehicles in the shape of petrol, diesel. We also use coal in at home or in industries. When we use coal, petrol or oil or diesel, they release many pollutants into the atmosphere. These pollutants go high in the atmosphere and they mix with the water vapors and other chemicals present in the atmosphere. And then these pollutants form harmful acids. These acids come down on the earth with the rain in the shape of acid rain. Acid rain affects us in negative ways. It removes mineral and nutrients from the soil. Acid rain also affects and damages our crops. When this acid rain goes into the rivers, ponds, and lakes, it makes the water in the water bodies more acidic, and the animals and plants which live in those water bodies, it is not good for them. When the acid rain falls on the buildings or monuments, they get discolored. Tree leaves are also damaged by the acid rain.
Next question. Which of the following is not a greenhouse gas? A. Carbon dioxide. B. Sulfur dioxide. C. Methane. D. Nitrogen. So answer is nitrogen is not a greenhouse gas. Gases that trap heat in the atmosphere are called greenhouse gases. These gases lead to the warming of the Earth's atmosphere. Carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, ozone, and chlorofluorocarbons, along with water vapor, are known as greenhouse gases. Sulfur dioxide is considered as an indirect greenhouse gas. Nitrogen is a chemical element. Its chemical symbol is simply the letter N. Nitrogen is not a greenhouse gas. For proper digestion of food and growth, human body needs nitrogen. Nitrogen by itself is not responsible for trapping the sun's rays. However, nitrous oxide, which has a chemical symbol N2O, is a greenhouse gas. Next, describe the greenhouse effect in your own words. Answer. The greenhouse effect is simply defined as the way in which heat energy from the sun is trapped close to Earth's surface by greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases include carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxides. These heat trapping gases can be thought of as a blanket wrapped around Earth. During the day, the sun shines through the atmosphere. Earth's surface warms up in the sunlight. At night, Earth's surface cools, releasing heat back into the air. But some of the heat is trapped by the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. The greenhouse effect is a natural process which keeps our Earth a warm and cozy 15 degrees Celsius on average and thus helps in human survival. However, Earth's greenhouse effect is getting stronger as burning of fossil fuels is increasing the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, leading to global warming. Plants can help to balance the greenhouse effect on Earth. A greenhouse is a building with glass walls and a glass roof. Greenhouses are used to grow plants such as tomatoes and tropical flowers. A greenhouse stays warm inside even during the winter. In the daytime, sunlight shines into the greenhouse and warms the plants and air inside. At night times, it's colder outside, but the greenhouse stays pretty warm inside. That's because the glass walls of the greenhouse trap the sun's heat. The greenhouse effect works much the same way on Earth. Greenhouse gases in the atmosphere trap heat similar to the glass roof of a greenhouse.
Now we have before us question greenhouse effect. What is greenhouse? First of all, we should understand that greenhouse is a building which is made of glass. Its roof is also glass and its side walls are also made of glass. These greenhouses are used to grow plants such as tomatoes, tropical flowers. Even in the winter, when there is lot of cool outside, the greenhouse stays warm. In the daytime, sunlight shines in the greenhouse and the plants and the air inside the greenhouse remains warm. And when at night there is colder outside, even then the greenhouse stays pretty warm inside. So the glass walls of the greenhouse trap the sun's heat. In the same way, greenhouse effect works on the earth. Now, for the purpose of the earth, greenhouse gases trap the heat which comes from the sun and do not allow the heat to go back to the pass out of the atmosphere. So these greenhouse gas effect. So this greenhouse effect is a natural process. Carbon dioxide is playing a very major role in keeping the earth warm. If carbon dioxide has not been there, then our earth might have been much colder than what is it is as on day. So greenhouse effect is getting stronger day by day. That is, our earth is becoming hot day by day because we are using lot of fossil fuels in as the number of vehicles are increasing on the earth. Plants can help us to balance the greenhouse effect on earth.
Next question. Prepare a brief speech on global warming. Answer. Slow and steady increase in the temperature of Earth's surface is called global warming. It is a serious environmental issue. It has intensified in recent decades. The globe is heating up. Both land and ocean are more warmer than 100 years ago, and the temperature is still going upward. The main reason of global warming is combustion of fossil fuels and deforestation. It is primarily a problem of too much carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which acts as a blanket, trapping heat and warming the planet. We are feeling the impact of global warming across the globe. Extreme heat waves have caused the death of thousands of people around the world in recent years. Ice is melting at a very high speed in Antarctica since 2002. Many species of plants and animals are facing the risk of extinction due to global warming.
Global warming is a very worldwide issue. It is a very serious environmental issue. All over the world, the temperature is increasing. The main cause of increase in the temperature worldwide is the combustion of fossil fuels and deforestation. Due to use of fossil fuels, the concentration of carbon dioxide and other harmful gases is increasing in the atmosphere, and which is trapping the heat and warming our planet. Now, due to the global warming, the incidents of forest fires worldwide are increasing. Ice is melting even at those places where the ice never melt. Though droughts are not the direct consequence of the global warming, but due to global warming, the chances of drought and the impact of drought are increasing day by day. So it is the high time that we should take necessary steps to reduce the use of fossil fuels as well as to reduce the usage of wood so that more and more trees are not cut for industrial or for home purpose, and we should also take steps to plant more and more trees and take necessary steps so that we can use electricity based vehicles or solar based vehicles in future.
Next, describe the threat to the beauty of the Taj Mahal. Answer. Taj Mahal is amongst the seven wonders of the world. It is the most famous tourist attraction of India. It is made up of white marble. The industries located in and around Agra emit air pollutants like sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide. These gases react with water vapors present in the atmosphere to form sulfuric acid and nitric acid. These acids come down on the earth along with the rain as acid rain. It is the acid rain which is the major threat to the beauty of Taj Mahal. Acid rain corrodes the white marble of Taj Mahal. This phenomenon is called as marble cancer. Soot particles from Mathura refinery are also responsible for yellowing of the marble. To save the beauty of Taj Mahal, the Supreme Court of India has ordered the industries to either switch to cleaner fuels like CNG and LPG or more to far away places. Next question. Why does the increased level of nutrients in the water affect the survival of aquatic organisms? Answer. The increased level of nutrients in the water increases the growth of tiny green water plants known as algae. Once these algae die, they serve as food for decomposers like bacteria. These bacteria consume a lot of oxygen from the water when they breathe. So there is decrease in the level of dissolved oxygen in the water body, and aquatic organisms including fishes do not get enough oxygen and they begin to die. The underground the underground water the underground wastewater treatment structures and agriculture and fertilizers contribute excessive nutrients, nitrogen and phosphorus that enter our rivers and streams, result in growth of algae who harm aquatic habitat.
Now we have question before us, why the increased level of nutrients in water affects the survival of aquatic organisms. First of all, we should understand why the level of nutrients increases in the water bodies. We use underground wastewater treatment structures. Then there are agricultural waste or fertilizers which we use in agriculture. All this, that is underground wastewater treatment structure, and the agricultural waste or agricultural leftouts and the fertilizers, when these things find their ways into the rivers or other water bodies, they result in the increase of nutrients in the water bodies. Due to the increase in the nutrients in the water, there is the growth of algae. When there is the growth of algae, you can see this is the growth of algae. When they grow, they harm the aquatic habitat. How they harm? When these algae die, they serve as food. They become food for what? They become the food of bacteria. When bacteria come into the picture, they consume a lot of oxygen. As they consume oxygen, these bacteria consume oxygen, the amount of oxygen present in the water decreases. So the aquatic organisms such as fishes do not get enough oxygen from the water bodies and they begin to die. So when the level of nutrients increases in the water, it adversely affects the aquatic organisms.
First question, what are the 3 R's of water conservation? Answer, water is a precious natural resource. To conserve water, we should follow the mantra reduce, reuse, and recycle. Reduce. While brushing teeth or bathing, we should not keep our taps continuously on. Reuse. Water used for washing vegetables or rice can be used for gardening. RO waste water can be reused for washing car, watering plants, floor cleaning, etc. Recycle. Dirty water can be recycled after purification. The world's water resources are not infinite. It is frightening to note that people in 2050 will only have 25% of the resources that people in 1950 had, while world population will grow 50% or more in next 50 years. So the only way to support future population is by using our resources more efficiently. Water conservation needs to be a way of life, not just something we think about once in a while.
So we now have before us what are the 3 R's of water conservation. Water is an important natural resource. It is not that the water is present in the world in an indefinite quantity. Though there are big oceans or seas or water bodies, but all of the water present in the world cannot be used for human consumption. The amount of water which we use for drinking or for food purposes or other purposes is very limited. So we have to use the water judiciously. So to conserve water, we should follow the mantra reduce, reuse, and recycle. It often happens that when we use the water for brushing teeth or bathing, we keep the tap on. It wastes a lot of water. We should always think of those persons which are living in remote areas or remote villages which are not having access to the drinking water. The amount of water which is available below underground is decreasing day by day. So next point, reuse. We can use the water which we have used for washing and vegetables. We can use the same water for gardening. We often use RO for purifying our water. We must also know that these RO wastewater treatment system results into the wastage of about 75% of the water. Only 1/4 of the water is made fit for drinking, and 3/4 of the water is discarded by the RO system. So we can use this water for washing our cars, watering plants, or for floor cleaning. We can also recycle the dirty water. If we do not use the water resources in the judicious way, then the coming generations will have to suffer a lot.
Next question, the level of air pollution is higher at busy traffic intersections. Why? Answer, a large number of vehicles such as cars, trucks, buses, scooters, etc. stop for a short period when the signal is red at traffic intersection. These vehicles release a large quantity of gases due to burning of petrol and diesel, which leads to air pollution.
The number of vehicles on the earth are increasing day by day. So naturally the air pollution is increasing. But at busy traffic intersections where we have to stop when there is red light, so the number of vehicles which stop there and they emit lot of smoke, and it ultimately increases the level of air pollution at the busy traffic intersections.
What do CFCs stand for? Name some devices where CFCs are used. Why CFCs are considered as pollutants. Answer. CFCs stands for chlorofluorocarbons. Chlorofluorocarbons are compounds containing chlorine, fluorine, carbon, and possibly hydrogen have been used extensively in the industrialized nations in the past decades, mainly as propellants in aerosol spray cans, as refrigerants, as blowing agents, and chemical intermediates. CFCs are used in devices such as refrigerators, air conditioners, etc. CFCs are considered pollutants because CFCs, when released into the air, go high into the atmosphere and destroy the useful ozone layer of the atmosphere gradually. It happens that as refrigerants and aerosol cans containing CFCs become older and more obsolete, people tend to forget about them, leaving them ultimately to leak and further contaminate the atmosphere. CFCs are more commonly known by the name freons, a registered trademark of DuPont. They are clear, colorless liquids or gases. At high concentrations, they can cause a number of adverse effects such as central nervous system depression, cough, difficult breathing, confusion, etc. In the 1970s, the scientists realized that the CFC, which was being consumed by staying in the environment and eroding the ozone layer that protects us from the ultraviolet rays. After this realization, in 1987, all the world's nations signed the Montreal Protocol to end the usage of CFC in the next 2 decades.
CFCs means chlorofluorocarbons. They are compounds. They are used in refrigerators or air conditioners. But they are today considered as pollutants because these CFCs, that is chlorofluorocarbons, are destroying the useful ozone layer of the atmosphere slowly and slowly. In the 70s, when the scientists realized that the CFC is causing erosion of ozone layer, so after realizing this fact, an international treaty named Montreal Protocol was signed, so that there is the end of use of chlorofluorocarbons in future. So now CFCs has been banned.
Next question. A gas X is present in the stratosphere that prevents ultraviolet radiation of the sun from reaching the earth. Name the gas. So answer is name of the gas is ozone. Question number 5. Combustion of fossil fuels generates a lot of air pollution. Name two alternative sources of energy which do not cause any pollution. Answer. Solar energy and wind energy are two alternative sources of energy which do not cause any pollution. Question number 6. Burning dry leaves causes air pollution. What should be done to dispose of the dry leaves? Answer. When we burn dry leaves, many harmful gases are released into the atmosphere. The right way to dispose of the dry leaves is to convert them into compost. Next, hot water can also be a pollutant. Explain how. Answer. Hot water is usually released by power plants and many industries into the water body or rivers. It raises the temperature of the water body, which adversely affects the animals and plants living in it. Question number 8. Name any two sources which cause air pollution due to suspended particulate matter. Answer. Two sources which cause air pollution due to SPM are as under. Number 1. Automobiles which burn diesel and petrol produce SPM. Number 2. Industrial activities like manufacturing of steel and mining also produce SPM. SPM are microscopic particles of solid or liquid matter suspended in air. They adversely affect human health in many ways, including direct inhalation. Question number 9. What is ozone layer? What will happen if the ozone cover of the atmosphere is removed? Answer. The ozone layer is mainly found in the lower portion of the stratosphere from approximately 15 to 35 kilometers above Earth, although its thickness varies seasonally and geographically. This layer protects the Earth from the sun's powerful ultraviolet radiation. If ozone layer is removed, the human beings and other organisms would be exposed to the UV rays of the sun. Due to the exposure to the UV rays, diseases such as cataract, skin cancer, etc. will be caused, which may result into death. The second effect of the depletion of ozone layer will be the melting of ice. Next question. Why we should plant trees and nurture the ones already present in the neighborhood? Answer. We should plant trees and nurture the ones already present in the neighborhood. Number one, to reduce air pollution. Number two, to control global warming. Next, write short note on Ganga Action Plan. Also list some reasons for pollution in the river Ganga. Answer. The Ganga Action Plan was an ambitious project launched in the year 1986 by the then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi to reduce the increasing pollution levels in the river Ganga. It aimed at reducing pollution level by treating domestic sewage and preventing the industrial waste from entering the river, etc. Now, the government of India has launched a new initiative known as National Mission for Clean Ganga in 2016. Some reasons for pollution in the river Ganga are as under. Number one, human wastes. Number two, municipal wastes. Third, dead bodies of human beings and animals. Fourth, industrial activities. Fifth, religious activities. Next, what is meant by chlorination? Answer. It is a commonly used chemical method for purifying water. It is done by adding chlorine or chlorine compounds to the water. This method is used to kill certain bacteria and other microbes in tap water as chlorine is highly toxic. In particular, chlorination is used to prevent the spread of waterborne diseases such as cholera, dysentery, and typhoid. This method was first used over a century ago and is still used today. Microorganisms can be found in raw water from rivers, lakes, and groundwater. We agree that all microorganisms are not harmful to human health, but there are some microorganisms that may cause diseases in human beings. These are called pathogens. Pathogens present in water can be transmitted through a drinking water distribution system, causing waterborne disease in those people who consume it. Chlorination is one of many methods that can be used to disinfect water. Next, what are the traditional ways of purifying water to make it fit for drinking? Answer, filtration. Number two, boiling. Number third, by adding chlorine tablets. 14. Name the types of water pollutants. Answer. Water pollutants can be classified into the following three categories. Number one, physical water pollutants. These include solid waste, thermal pollution, etc. Number two, biological water pollutants. These include pathogens, for example, viruses, protozoa, fungi, etc. Third, chemical water pollutants. These include pesticides, fertilizers, oil spills, etc.
So now we have before us the types of water pollutants. We have divided the water pollutants into three types: physical, biological, and chemical. When we talk about physical water pollutants, that include solid waste and thermal pollution. Now the question arises, what is thermal pollution? Thermal pollution is defined as sudden increase or decrease in the temperature of a natural body of water, which may be an ocean, lake, river, or pond by human influence. A common cause of thermal pollution is the use of water as a coolant by power plants and paper industry and other industries. These power plants and other industries use the water as coolant and release the hot water into the water bodies. This is called thermal pollution. Further, domestic sewage may also be discharged into rivers, lakes and canals at many places without treating the waste, which is also causing water pollution. Then we are using pesticides and fertilizers for the purpose of increasing our production in fields. Many times whenever there is a rain or there is the outflow of water, so the pesticides and fertilizers also flow with the water and they may go to the water bodies where they can cause water pollution, and these pesticides and fertilizers are can be harmful to the aquatic life. Now we come to the chemical water pollutant in the shape of oil spills. Many times we read or see in the television that when a ship ruptures, oil starts spilling from them. And the spread of oil can spread over many miles. So this oil spill can result into the death of many aquatic organisms such as fish. This oil may also stick to the feathers of seabirds, which results into the loss of ability to fly.
Next question, which are the various sources that pollute water? Answer, the various sources which pollute water can be categorized as under. Number 1, point sources. The sources or places of water pollution which are easily identifiable are called point sources of water pollution. For example, a factory chimney, waste disposal pipe of a factory into a river. Number 2, non-point sources. These sources are scattered and tracing pollution back to a single source is difficult. For example, runoff from fields, streets, construction sites, and acid rain.
Now we have divided these sources which pollute water into two types: point sources and non-point sources. Whenever a smoke is emanating from the chimneys, we can point out that this chimney is located in a particular industry or in a particular area. In this figure, we can also find out that this wastewater is emanating from a particular place. So these are the point source of pollution which can be easily identified. But here you will see that there may be a lot of land from where the pesticides or fertilizers may move into the water body whenever there is a rain or outflow of water. So we cannot pinpoint a particular field. There may be a lot of livestock in the shape of cattle, and their waste may also come to the water bodies. We cannot point out a particular area where the cattle may be there. There may be a cattle in the spread over hundreds of miles. Then the discharge from rural homes may be there, or there may be streets in the urban areas from where the sewage is flowing into the water bodies. So we cannot point out a particular home from where the pollution is coming. Then there may be runoffs from the parking lots, or the air pollution caused by trucks, truck or cars may also come back to the earth in the shape of acid rains. So these are non-point sources. We cannot point out a particular source from where the pollution is coming. So these are non-point sources.
Question number 16 is smoke an air pollutant? Answer, smoke is a type of intense air pollution which is formed by the combination of smoke and fog. Smoke is a serious problem in many cities and continues to harm human health. Question number 17. The use of excessive fertilizers and pesticides leads to the deficiency of an important substance in water. Name the substance. Answer. The use of excessive fertilizers and pesticides may result into runoff from the fields into waterways. These fertilizers and pesticides act as nutrients for the algae to grow. These algae use up oxygen that fish and other animals need. It leads to the deficiency of oxygen in the water. Next, trees help in reducing pollution of our environment. A large number of trees are planted by the people in the month of July every year. This occasion is called A. Van Mahotsav, B. Plantation Month, C. Forest Conservation Day, D. Wildlife Week. So answer is Van Mahotsav. 19th question. It is said CO2 contributes to global warming. Explain. Answer. Global warming is caused by the emission of greenhouse gases. 72% of the totally emitted greenhouse gases is carbon dioxide, 18% methane, and 9% nitrous oxide. So, carbon dioxide is contributing most to global warming. Combustion of fossil fuels in vehicles, factories, and home produces CO2 in high amounts. The emission of CO2 has dramatically increased in the last 50 years and is still increasing by almost 3% each year. The carbon dioxide released in the atmosphere remains there for 100 to 200 years. So the concentration of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere is increasing, which in turn is causing rise in the average temperature on Earth.
So we now have question before us whether carbon dioxide contributes to global warming. Global warming is caused by greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases include carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, etc. Major portion of the greenhouse gases is carbon dioxide. We are using vehicles where we use fossil fuels in the shape of petrol, diesel. We are also using coal at home. So it all is resulting into a large amount of carbon dioxide being produced. So the amount of carbon dioxide is increasing in the atmosphere day by day. It is stated that the carbon dioxide remains in the atmosphere for decades together. So when the concentration of carbon dioxide is increasing day by day in the atmosphere and these greenhouse gases act as a blanket for the earth and do not allow the heat to move out of the atmosphere. So this concentration of carbon dioxide is causing the average temperature on earth to rise.
Next question. Here is a mixture of various gases. One of the gas is 21% part of the air and is essential for the survival of human beings. This gas is called number 1 nitrogen, number 2 oxygen, number 3 ozone, number 4 argon. So answer is oxygen. Question number 21. Which of the following is not a source of air pollution? 1. Automobile exhaust. Number 2 windmill. Number 3 burning of firewood. 4th power plant. So answer is windmill. A windmill is a structure that converts wind power into rotational energy with the help of blades called sails or blades, especially for grinding grain, but the term is also extended to wind pumps, wind turbines and other applications. Question number 22nd. Ramesh wishes to contribute in reducing air pollution. Which vehicle should he use for going to school? A. Car, B. Auto rickshaw, C. School bus, D. Scooter. So answer is school bus. Question number 23rd. We can survive for some time without air, but we cannot survive even for a few minutes without food. Comment. Answer. False. We can survive for some time without food, but we cannot survive even for a few minutes without air. Next question. Carbon monoxide is produced by the complete burning of fuels such as coal, petrol, diesel. Comment. Answer. False. Carbon monoxide is produced by the incomplete burning of fuels such as coal, petrol, diesel. It is a very toxic gas that can kill persons sleeping in a room where coal is burning. Next question. The type of pollution which is likely to affect Taj Mahal in Agra to a greater extent is A. Air pollution, B. Water pollution, C. Soil pollution, D. Noise pollution. So answer is air pollution. Question number 26. The Kyoto Protocol is associated with one of the following: A. Reduction in the use of chlorofluorocarbons. B. Reduction in the cutting of forest trees. C. Reduction in pollution of fresh water sources. D. Reduction in the emission of greenhouse gases. So answer is reduction in emission of greenhouse. If you like our video, please like, share and subscribe our channel. Thank you.